Peace to everyone. This is my one take. Actually, it's my second. But this is the only one that I'm doing. The only reason why I got to the second is because I needed my drink. You can't talk for moments without needing something to wipe that palate down. So I needed to grab my drink and I forgot my drink. So take two. Life debunked. What is life debunked? Life debunked is literally unpeeling everything about life. Life truly is nothing more than right now. Mind, body, breath. Makes up right now. You void any one of those three within the equation and you eliminate the ability to even form within this dimension. So breath, body and mind gone without breath. Take the body away, evidently, there's nothing else. But the mind has always been here. The mind is energy. Energy cannot be destroyed nor created. So where do I get this platform? Why do I feel like I got the answer? I'll qualify myself with a few credentials. One, I grew up ribbing on folks, talking about people to it was like entertainment. As Corey Holcomb calls it, signifying. And when you come up ribbing on talking about people and you identify flaws quickly. So I had a gift to identify flaws. And I'm talking about I was really good. As a matter of fact, there's some people to this moment that are still traumatized by some of the shit I've said to them. So another thing, this is not going to be one of those, I swear. So this is you're going to get me. You're going to get all of me. You're not going to get some wholesome, some PC version of this shit. This is just because it's been on my mind for about 2 years now. It's been on my heart all my life. So now that I understand the complete picture, I'm downloading it. So at times you'll just hear me going a little faster in my speech because it's just coming off so fast. So another aspect of my worthiness of this information is that I never ever cared about applying myself to life. I'll share that story with you later in the story, but I didn't care about doing anything in life. Anybody who knows me knows Bob went through life and I never cared. Legal name is Bobby Weber Jr. I go by Godbody 13 simply because my brother named it to me and it stuck. I felt at the time I was a lot more physically fit, so I felt like a god in the body of a man. Mentally, I always felt that. I always felt like I was never here. I told my mother at 5 that let's get to the shit. Let's cut through the bullshit. All right. Basically, math and science were innately impressed on my mind, or I'm deriving it. I've downloaded that quickly. I never opened a book, but I never had to ever, when I was in Calc 3, and I still never had to open a book. It was weird. It was very weird how I understand math and science. I wasn't an elite or anything because I never tried. I just, like I said, the understanding of it was very clear and no one had to explain much other than sometimes just guide your understanding or perception like they do in most things. So this particular is going to culminate science. It's going to culminate math. It's going to basically take all the things that I've collected in life, and I use collection. See, this is my intelligence, what I'm sharing with you guys. Intelligence, the body is the only medium of exchange that the mind knows. We'll get into all of the medium of exchange. That we empower a medium of exchange called money. But there's only one power that the body knows, that the mind knows, that's the medium of exchange. The body exchanges everything on this plane or planet for information through its 5 sensories. So it's a 5-sensory perception object that literally informs the mind via the brain of everything of what is on this plane. That's why they define it. Define. It's define it. That's the definition of these things. All of these things are signatures from a prior human being. We'll get into that as well. But when you look at intelligence, it's not called extelligence. It's called intelligence. So it comes from inside. So this is my intelligence that comes from inside of me. It's not extelligence. And what it's based off of is all the things that I've ever seen and understood and collected in my life. Now, what happens to people in reality is we don't spit out intelligence anymore. This is why AI has been created. Black people control the consciousness of this planet, and Black people are not spitting out intelligence. It's evident that the lower melanated folks cannot produce the intelligence needed to sustain humanity. They need Black people to do this, but in order to do this, they would have to have Black people know a little bit more about reality. And they can't do that. They cannot afford to do that simply because it would change the order of what our perception of life. The perception of life is that white folks run the world, which would completely be contrary to the Punnett. Punnett Square, 1905, Punnett indicated that Black, brown, and yellow were the order of genetic dominance in the body, in DNA. So if you understand, now we're getting a little bit more esoteric with DNA and saying, oh, it's consciousness as well. So then if that be the case, then Black people control consciousness as well. This is why they don't want you to know about who you are. That's why you get the reminder that every February that you were just a slave here, bro. You were never anybody else. And we beat you and gave you your mind and replaced your religion and culture with all of this stuff. Well, this stuff is interesting because this stuff turned into hip hop, and hip hop infected the whole world, which led me to believe that Black people control the consciousness of this world. If we were given that narrative, right? You give a narrative, hey, you don't know who the fuck you are, but you just changed the entire fucking planet just by one form in your mind. Jesus Christ. And look at how, anyway. But before I get too deep into this, man, let me give a few shout outs. There's one person that has a foundation shout out, and there's another person who has like the apex shout out. The apex shout out goes out to Michael Jordan, J-Bone, 23, Chicago Bulls. Man, as a human or accepted human being, you really showed me and the rest of the world there's no such thing as great until you can show anything greater. And you came out and showed everyone, every last human being, these niggas y'all think are cool, great, and the niggas included Larry Bird. For you motherfuckers who think that niggas only mean Black people. Larry Bird was a part of them niggas. And guess what? Michael Jordan used all of them. He used their reflection of greatness to stand like a stair step. I appreciate you, Michael Jordan. You really showed humanity that there is no ceiling to greatness. And from that, I believe the NBA owes you fucking beyond half the stock. They should give you 75%. That ain't my business. That's just me talking. They were shit before you, and now you are the greatest man ever. Like Mike Tyson. You look at, some of the stuff that he did. Rock Newman. Mentioning Mike Tyson. Rock Newman, I recently watched, who was the guy? Oh, when you took down Galata, I was watching, I want to say Buster, but it wasn't Buster. What's the guy's name? They say he looked like me. My brother always said he looked like me. Can't remember his name as a fighter. Just watched it a few days ago, and when I saw Rock, I was like, there's Rock. It's a peace, Rock. I've seen a lot of your work. Now I know exactly where I know you. I like to say peace to, because I grew up in comedy, so I love a lot of comedians. Recently, I've been washing down with Bill Burr. I've been hearing the name for last 4 years, and literally like in the past 2-3 weeks, I've been watching a lot of Burr, and man, standing on the game. I appreciate your perspective, all of it, the power, the force, the the ability to withstand the trenches of the game, man. Fortitude, all of that kind of stuff right there. It's just beautiful. Dave Chappelle. Dave, you heard my last name. I looked on Wikipedia. I saw that you have the exact same last name, Weber Chappelle. How is that, Dave? Shout out to Dave, also a great comedian, sketch comedy artist, as Corey Holcomb calls him, an actor. Corey, the motherfucker's the shit. But at the end of the day, shout out to Corey Holcomb, another person who just speaks it and keeps it real. See, I like people who just want to keep the blanket dirty. See, they like to play the PC game like, oh, we got to keep it clean. And so anybody who steps out of the little box of PC, they want to say, that's the guy who's the bad guy. So the more people we can step out of the box, the more we can spread the box open or just kick the walls, the barriers down altogether. So my little setup behind me is janky. It's not really anything other than a very hurried setup. This has been on my mind. Today is a bunch of people's birthday. One who's very close to me. Little girls will turn 11 today. Peace to the queen. And this is a part of your birthday gift, is unveiling the truth to life. What is life? My kid came and asked me where his mind was. And from that, it's on video number 1, if you check it out. From that, all I gathered was, I got to find my marker. Give me 1 second. It seems to be right here. So this is what I gathered from that. If you're looking outside, and this is the person looking out of that window, right? The literal, they always say the truth is hidden in plain sight. So the literal version of life is that, are we a body? We're not, simply by this reality. If this be a person, let's see where the eyes and nose, and we'll put some nice big old fat ones on them. A little chin, right? If that be the person, kind of a weird head, but, and this be the eyes, right? Obviously, I'm not a good artist, and y'all can't really see this like I thought it was going to be. So I'll probably have to just get it up a little closer just to check it out, right? A little bit closer. That way you don't get to see my janky setup. And let me draw that head a little bit bigger, right? So if this was a person, right, looking outside, right? And he's looking out. And then there has to be a person inside this person, right? Looking out of their eyes, right? Can you see that? Right? There has to be a person. This person right here is looking out of your eyes, right? If the truth is hidden in plain sight, then that's the truth. Because this is the person looking out of this window behind me. And when I close my eyes and I can't see into this world, then where's the actual person that's looking outside? It's still in there. And that person is called your mind. Okay, something that they don't want you to know about. Let's get a little bit further into the game of life. Okay, the game of life, they always say that the game of life is the quantum realm, right? So let's make it quantum. Y and X, right? So we know about, this would be Y equals self. So we know about the positive side, and that's the negative side. We know about this. This would be called the outer world. That's the outer world. What we don't know is about this side. So this side right here has been made completely unknown to man. So this is why life is so screwed up the way it is it's unbalanced, right? Let me share the balance with you. Up, down, opposites. Left, right, opposites. Outside world, where's the inside world? Exactly. So let me break this shit all down to you guys, right? Inside world is the lower part of the XY axis, the part that they don't let us ever know about. This would be considered your mind. One point in time, they depicted it as a circle. The Egyptians look at God as a dot. The Egyptians look at humans, and this is according to hieroglyphs, as a circle with a dot in the middle. So if you draw the graph here, you see that? What do you get? You get what the Gnosticisms or the Gnostics or whatever, whoever these people used to do the cross with the circle. Isn't that the reality that comes into play when you start to see this? This is called hidden knowledge. Now, Billy Carson, peace. Joe Dispenza, peace. Jordan Maxwell, R.I. peace. At the end of the day, most of you guys have experienced a journey, but you're talking from a cloud, the cloud that no one understands because they don't know the ladder that you took to get there. Today I'm showing everyone the actual ladder. How do you get to this door? The door of your mind. And the door of your mind is right at 0. I'll explain why. That's why when you look at the Grand Cross, of the 33rd. Thank you, Quasi. Shout out to Quasi. Quasi showed me that in the video that the Grand Cross is basically depicted as something like this. Ugh, my drawing again, guys. Sorry. Right? And in the center of the Grand Cross, there's a big circle, right? And I'm keeping everything on the graph so you guys can see how everything is related. It's all hidden right in front of you, right in front of you, okay? So this point is the only point that we all need to be worried about in life. Why? We see life vertically. These 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, they represent the quantum realm. This also represents your reality. Peace to Terrence motherfucking Howard. Lucius Lyon broke the fucking mold of life and helped me with a very vital piece. He showed us that the math was looped. If you watch the video, there's a video. Terrence Howard in Oxford. If you watch that video, he's showing you, and he literally has you pull out a calculator and shows you that the math is looped. Well, if the math is looped, folks, let me share and let me build this out for you since they want to play us out to be so goofy. If the math is looped, everything that you can visualize is built from math. And therefore, your reality or your visual reality is looped. Okay, let's start there. So if they got your visual reality looped based off of the math, they're not showing you whoever the days are, is the people who benefit from this shit. So now you can walk down who benefits from this shit by looking at life. I don't know who benefits. I don't care. Fuck, I know who. All I give a fuck about, they told me where my mind, somebody stole my shit. That's all I'm looking for is my mind. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. It's my mind. This is about my mind. And I'm sharing where I think they took the minds of everyone. Because again, like hip hop, in order to enslave people, you enslave people to an outer reality. There were people who were living internally and breathing. And there was a balanced world. But once you start killing off the mindset now, let's be more generous. And as Bill Burr would say, extend an olive branch to these motherfuckers and say, hey, man, you know what? I believe that this may have gone this way. And say, hey, man, a guy meditating has his eyes closed, right? And these guys, when they first took over the game, they probably killed a lot of these motherfuckers, like everybody who was closing their eyes to live life, simply because they needed everybody out here so that they could run the game. And the game is once we eliminate this and change the names of everything, these motherfuckers won't know shit. And that's exactly what's happening. We don't know a motherfucking thing because they have changed everything. The names of continents, places, the titles of the things that were named to be deities and real things. And There shouldn't be a deity, I don't believe. But in my mind, I don't ever believe that there ever should be a deity, simply because once you understand that you're God, you create, you form. That's why we're stuck in the game of life, is because slavery took away your ability to form. So now you're subject to, when I take away this part of the game, you're only subject to what you can see, conform. So if you're here and that's why there are so many people on this planet, because we don't know the truth about life. We keep living this loop. And that's why they say souls keep coming back here. That's why the loop is being lived, because the digital reality just sends you back to the game. Your mind must see beyond what's in front of you. So this is all of this stuff is just me talking. Okay, so now you've got the fact that we're living in a loop, and nothing is essentially, what is this stuff? Math, science. They built reality. It's like taking wood and building a house. It's like taking paint and adding the accessories. So the math and science are the foundation, the religions and these things, and which because the mind is not going to believe in a reality that does not encompass all the things that it is. So as long as it can conceptualize what the other aspect of this board is, no matter what, how it's seen, how it's delivered. That's why you got different religions, because people can see different things. The goal of all of this was to just separate people from themselves. We're all life. Imagine 8 billion people on this planet. Imagine if there was 8 billion tennis players. We're all 8 billion mind-body operators on this planet. Imagine if there were 8 billion mechanics, 8 billion bodybuilders, 8 billion gardeners. How much of a great world it would be for them. But the game of humanity, as they've shown us, and it's evident that we see each other and we know that we're all the same life form, but we don't act to help one another at all. And that's a part of the social construct, which goes back to not knowing who you are. So once you balance the playing field of life, I'll tell you, I'll give you all the fucking secrets, man. When I was 21, I read a book, and this is the foundation of, when I talk about the apex being bone and the foundation. I read a book called the Metu Neter, Volume 1. I had never read a book before. I only read this book out of desperation. Sorry, Ra. Ra un Nefer Amen is the author and the perspective of this particular book. There's several volumes. The book is no longer in sale. I bought for my nephews 4 years ago. I bought 2 books for $45 or $95, and that was including like a $5 shipping. So today the book is $199. You look online, that's the lowest price that I saw, was $199. So the truth is coming to light. It was not to Pub Ra's book, it was to Pub Ra. Ra un Nefer Amen is a person who spoke to me at a time through this book where I needed some money. I was on an airplane to California, October 21st, 1993, was a Tuesday. I was on an airplane to California. I had $35 in my pocket. I planned on living there. And I was supposed to have $1,000. I had a settlement that I had just kind of went through the money, even though I was supposed to give my brother half and shaded him. I'm just letting you guys know the character I was. So I don't deserve this information, but it's here. And I'm just being square with y'all. I don't deserve what I know, but I do. I say I don't deserve it because I never strived to get it. I've always just been trying to put little pieces of the puzzle together, always. I guess you deserve what you get when you can figure it out, right? So I deserve it from that aspect, but I just was not striving for, it's like, like my buddy told me, man, just didn't like you coming up because everything was so easy. It's almost like you didn't deserve it. You weren't really trying for it. And I get it. But anyway, I just never cared Who gives a shit about this shit, man, when everybody looks like they've lost their goddamn mind, walking around talking about they believe in a God that's outside of them, and none of this shit is seeming to work? What person in reality would continue to take prescription medicine from a doctor if it doesn't work within the first 3 to 4 days? 5. Let's get 5. We say 3 for real sick people because we know people who take medicine know that the stuff typically works right away. These people have been prescribing to this thought process for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And we are lost behind it as if the prescription is working for someone. And if it's not working for all of humanity, it's working for no one. God didn't make one person. He made everyone. If that's what y'all believe in, any of these books are saying, but we've read a couple of them, and some of the stuff ain't really pretty what's in these books, man. I don't think y'all really reading them, but again, I'm not here for that. I'm just here to show you guys what I have seen. So back to the reality. The reality is that we're only living one half of life. It's a loop reality, right? How do you get to this point? What does all this mean? This means that when you look at life vertically, if you stay on zero, staying on zero meaning demagnetizing yourself, defranchising your mind with your body, okay? Understanding that you're solely a mind according to the drawing, according to the reality that when you're looking out the window, you're the person inside the window. So where's the person inside the windows of your eyes? It's got to be your mind. Your mind is dimensionally above your body. I didn't explain to you how the information turns into intelligence because I'm rambling. This shit's been on my mind for years, but it's been in my understanding forever. Your body produces intelligence by allowing that information that your body forms through the 5 sensory perception. It collects the information through the brain to the mind. According to what you accept and believe, the mind then puts everything in a format or in formation. You don't have to choose to accept and believe anything. You do not have to choose to accept and believe a damn thing. But we do. Socially, we're pressured to do so. You have to be on one side or the other. That's the polarity of the 3 dimensions. That's the polarity of the 3 dimensions. They're polarized, but if you guys know that there's polar poles on this side as well, this will be the positive, 2 negatives make a positive, and this will be the negative, right? Right. So if this be the case, right? If this be the case for our reality, then what is the whole purpose of life? The whole purpose of life is to not believe in anything outside of you unless you form it. If you believe in things outside of you, you are playing make-believe. You can use the things outside of you to form whatever you need to because that's what they're here for. To believe in something outside of you is something different. To lean on something outside of you makes you not self-sufficient. The mind is God. The body is the devil. This is what they've programmed, okay? The devil is the only thing that can be tempted by anything on this plane, right? The mind cannot. So once you understand the balance and even the poles of your own mind and body, right? What is me? Myself. And then I. Me is the perception of what people see of your body and what they know to be your character. That's what me is. Myself is the body and what encompasses it. And I is the mind's eye. That point right there, that is the mind's eye. Okay? None of it is you. None of it is any part of you. All of it's all perception. So when you look at the aspects of life, your job is to get to this point and build here. This is a theory that all of this stuff is just based off of theories for me. But one of my biggest theories is that everything in this life is triple stages. So the first seed that man has is the seed from the testicle going into the woman's vaginal opening through into the egg. That egg forms a zygote, which is the second seed or the second phase of man. And all seeds, I've been doing composting lately, all seeds have a growth process. So now the third seed is the human body. And the third seed, being the human body, it also needs to grow to something. But the reason why your growth has been stunted is because the human body, this is the whole human body right here, right? So that's the square. So when you look at the true square, right? The true square means that you understand the upper and the lower, meaning I understand that I am a body and I understand that the body encompasses a mind. So I am balanced with my inner and outer world. I am balanced with my inner and outer world. I am balanced with my outer world equally, up, down, left, right, but I'm also balanced with my entire world. So that's a complete balance, right? You also say that when you know this, you know those quadrants are polarized. So even in your mind, there's polarity, right? The job of the human in the body, or the mind in the body rather, so the mind-body operator's job is to make all four poles, all four quadrants positive. How do you make it all positive? It's all perception. So you have to trick yourself that all this shit is good. You have to accept it in your mind. You have to literally, in your, hey, everything is good. And it's not really a trick if you understand it's all made naturally. So just like the cells in your body are all fighting to keep you alive. So why wouldn't we have a similar cause? It's all systematic. Everything is a system, right? When I opened up this book, when I opened up Ra's book, Ra Nefer, the Metu is what I call it. When I opened up the Metu, I opened up to page 392. I have this first 4 sentences memorized because it was a bold statement I've never heard. I was 21 at all, and in 52 years, I've still never heard a statement like this in a book. It said, if we breathe at 1 breath per minute, according to the meditation techniques of pranayama kumbhaka, we will make contact with our divine nature. I was stumped by this. I told you guys I hadn't applied myself. So to be thorough with my understanding, I went to Merriam-Webster's to look up the 2 words, divine and nature. This is how simple and literal I was, because I was floored by these words. Once again, this happened after I didn't do this on the airplane. What does it say? At such a slow rate, we would succumb to the grand slumber that Vishnu is said to enjoy at Mahayuga. At 3 breaths per minute, all thought processes stop and we attain to satya. That is the ability to intuit all knowledge. Constant meditation at this pace will heal the body and prolong life. In addition, we will be able to activate the cryo power that will enable us to attain whatever we desire in the world. At 21, when someone reads a book or anything that says, hey man, do this and you'll be able to attain whatever you desire in the world, and you know you're going to Los Angeles, California from the Midwest, you're like, yo, I gotta do this, like right now, like without a doubt. And it's amazing how I understood what high school meant at that time, because once you start applying yourself and you don't know how you measure up to life because you've never applied yourself, you realize that this is what these little physical these educational institutions are for, is to help you gauge where you kind of are going to land in life. But that's really just the beginning of it. If someone is always controlling who you are, what you are, by telling you and you're believing it, then are you making up your own reality? Negative. They're telling you who you are, and you're falling into that script. That's what our life is. They tell you that's what's called his story. Everyone who comes gets a story from him, whoever he might be, but we've been passing this story down. Generation, child after child after child. So we need to start creating our own stories. Your own dream, as David Chappelle said. I like that last one. You talk about a dreamer. A dreamer is someone who can close their eyes and see reality different, as I did as a child. And because I never let go of that vision, ever, I see it all clearly right now. I see how I've never cared about anything. I've never prescribed to anything. You guys want to know, just pause in the conversation real quick. When you talk about like lawyers and doctors, and that's just somebody that the system tells you is qualified. We know that some of these motherfuckers are stupid as hell. They're dumb. Literally. Lawyers, doctors, the like. They're not, we are smarter than them, but they're literally just human body or mind body operators, right? That have a certificate on this three-dimensional plane. So they're no different than you are. And because of the certificate, you hold them in a higher regard because of some written paper, just like the note, the Federal Reserve note. Everybody's got a car note and a house note, and y'all haven't put together the Federal Reserve note and done the fucking research, and you guys claim to be smart? Oh, man, intelligent? And I'm not downing humanity. I'm just saying, where is this going? Where's reality going when people don't even research the simplicity, the things that are right in front of you? The only reason why I got here is because I was stumped by the fact that when I close my eyes, I can no longer see here. Where's the body of the person really looking? I might have been a little high, but still, I needed to find out. I needed to know. And this is what I come to find out. I remembered what I did when I was 21. I remembered what I had to do to try to get to that 1 breath per minute. And once you try to get to 1 breath per minute, y'all, I'll say this. You realize that there's nothing outside of you that's ever going to ever disturb your journey to life when you can't even control your own breathing. Oh, that's all involuntary. It's not supposed to be. Da, 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 da. Well, further down on that page on 392, Ra Unnefer Amen spells out that 18 breaths per minute is what we basically breathe at a resting state, in which case we are the most externalized and controlled by sensation. So you go ask your doctor, hey man, at what breath do human beings breathe at a resting state? And he'll say 18 to 20. When I confirmed that with my doctor, further, the book indicated that 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. I didn't have to refer to fucking the Matu for that, but I did have to refer to my math. And once I understood that 666 equaled the same 18 breaths per minute that we're all breathing, I also read in the book that, and this is another question I got for you, Ra, why do you think that they're speeding up the breathing according to the yugas? If you read the yugas, or what you wrote about the yugas rather, was that the breathing essentially is speeding up throughout the eras. Why is it that we're speeding up? I don't believe this is run by a human. I believe this is a further intelligence that's doing an experiment on the reality of what the perception, the mind. But it's, like I said, it's impossible for the pale gene to outsmart the fucking, no matter, even if you're using the same science. It's virtually impossible, but I think there's assistance that's coming from a different, but I don't know who, what, when, where. So I don't like to point and give power to things that I can't see and know. So all I work with is what I know. But if you want to speculate about or hypothesize or whatever you want to call these words, there's got to be a higher form of intelligence working with everything here, but you have to connect to it. And it's all run through the system. Everything's a system. It starts from one point to another point to another point to another. It's kind of like having children and the lineage of that. It's kind of like walking steps and the time, and the lineage of that. It's all systematic, but they're trying to make the system seem like they are in linear form, as Terrence Howard, Lucius Lyon, the homie who I never knew understood physics and math, and I appreciate how articulate, whoa, and simple you keep it. There's no such thing as a straight line. So if we accept straight lines, we're only accepting them to build, but we must build with precision. Otherwise, we'll never be interstellar, as he indicated. We don't need to be interplanetary if if this galaxy is going to erupt and this particular life form and all of this stuff is going to change. We need to be able to, but this is, like I said, this is Portal, man. Listen, the Transformers, right? On the Transformers, they told everybody about the Allspark. On the Avengers, they told everybody about the Tesseract, and those are both cubes. The cube is right here, man. It's boom. And then your chakra line. That's the cube. Once you put this cube, back inside your head, right, you become more powerful again. Once you create the understanding that there is an outer and an inner world, that voice inside your head has a fucking body. It wouldn't have a voice if it didn't. So at the end of the day, where's the body? You see the body to this voice, right? Where's the body to the one that's dimensionally above you? Hence, so the word above, so above shall be below. As above as is below. Because your mind is dimensionally above you. Whatever you put this called right here, it's called a reflexive angle. The x-axis becomes a reflexive angle. You fold that. You fold this, right? If you fold this, if this be the lower part, boom, so above shall be below, because the mind is dimensionally in control of this world. That's why they don't let people know about their minds. They don't let you know about your mind because they want to control your world, whoever they may be. You can figure that out through the game. I'm just telling you the fucking essence of it. They don't want you to know your mind simply because once you know your mind, this is why religion was created, so that to control you. You are uncontrollable. Your body is a machine. It's a biotech machine that is obviously being put under control through the spell of words. That's why everything has to be defined when you get here. You come here with a clean, white slate that you can decorate with your own mind. But instead, they just start injecting you with the shit. Boom. This is this, and this is that. And how do you say A? None of that shit even matters. This language is so fucked off. That's why there's words like history, information that have double meanings. It's information. It's in a format. Or is it in a formation? It's all the same. But information means that this is information. This is in a format. It's in a format of someone formed this in their mind and then brought what they saw out of their mind to a physical format. And this is the form of the mind. So that's why you don't play make-believe with somebody else's shit. You just build off of it. And hence why you've got the building reality. And this is what builders use to build on this fucking plane. That's why that's why Jesus was a carpenter. Carpenter's 33rd and 3rd degree. They understand the math, the science, the building. They understand the plane. They understand all the levels of the plane, the game, right? And here's how you get to that staircase. I would encourage everybody on the planet to read the Metu Neter. It's a great perspective. Also, another book, it's an audio book on YouTube. It's called The Science of Breath. The Science of Breath. It's the Master Key Society subscription. It is bananas. It's off the chain. It's got a lot of good science. And they call it hidden. They're hiding it because they don't want human beings to know. If human beings knew this, the order of whites dominating blacks would be over in a second, and literally one day, if everybody just knew this overnight. So, and it's not a dominating thing. It's just people controlling your reality. This right here, when you start to get back to this form of understanding, you start to form intelligence from human beings because you no longer just are basing your reality off of one side of the playing field. You feel me? You're using the whole thing, the whole gambit. Right now, we are just living on one half slate of the game of life. And just like how this looks, there's just a bunch of shit in our minds that we think is okay. We believe. To believe is to not know. That's why people who believe in God, they never know him or it. Another thing about God is a power that your mind forms. Conceptually, when someone gives you anything on this plane, any word, God, the word God included, your mind has to perceive it and form it through perception. So your mind is the only creator that your body knows. You feel me? Your mind, there's no other creator. The creator is one that you create. You create God. You create money. All these things are outside of you. So if you thinking God is outside of you and all this stuff around you is created by God, right? Then how is it that you can ever beat any of this stuff? You got to put the Tesseract. You got to put the Allspark back in you so that you can have the power. You are God. God is within you. This is God. The mind is God. The body is the devil. And yes, it's fun to flirt and interact between. How do you get to this point? How do you get to the staircase? Know thyself. Everyone has heard that. We've understand that the self is just the body. But the self is not just the physical body. The self is this entire piece right here. The physical body and the inner body creates the self. So when you know thyself, you know this picture. You know what this picture means. You know why it means what it means. That's what know thyself is. To get to zero, it means when you look at me, I accept nothing. Jim Carrey was so good at articulating this after he lost someone. I have also lost about 5 or 6 people in the last year. That's a lot. It's like one every other month, and in some cases 30 days apart. When you lose people, you go to a different place in your mind, your heart. And I always said to myself, why do we feel when people die? Why do we feel that shit? We feel it because it's a void that's going to be missing in our outer reality that we don't understand how it got there in the first place. It all got there through your perception. Everything in your outer reality started in your mind, but because you are not familiar about your mind, you don't know how and why and what to work within your outer and inner world combination. So how do we get here? This is the point of zero, which means I'm not black, I'm not a man, my parents don't exist, love don't exist. None of this shit that I polarized and magnetized and accepted for my body, to my body, with my body, does not exist anymore. So when somebody comes up to me and say, hey, yo, fuck your mama, nigga, and everybody she stand, and your mama's a hoe, all this shit, those words have to bounce off of me or go through me. But nonetheless, they do not penetrate my reality and they do not sit on my mind at all. Nothing sits on my mind when I'm in my mind. I am just in the seat of my mind. That is a practice that one must do. Again, I encourage everyone to read the Metu Neter. It's a perspective that is extremely interesting, very interesting, and has helped me form a lot of the things that I see. And this, again, is going to take away the clouds where people come and talk from the clouds, and it'll bring it right down to earth, right down to this place that we walk and the shit that we walk out of our door. I ran into a guy at 7-Eleven the other day. He goes, man, you got to be careful of things you say to people. You don't know what people are going through. And that's absolutely correct. I apologize. Like, man, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. And as I was walking out, I just had to say this because I said, dog, you don't bring your shit from your home into your job without kicking your feet off at the goddamn door. And that goes for people. We bring all of this shit out of our mind without kicking our feet off at the door of life before we enter into the world of people, because we don't know what the fuck our mind is. What our mind is. We don't know where it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it is, simply because it's not a lesson that's readily taught in the three-dimensional world. So how did we get here? They, again, we're not going to put a name or them today. We can keep going. It's hard to really figure out who they is, to be 1,000% square. Some people can identify, but again, you got to look at who benefits off of today's reality and then trace those people to find out where the real days are, because they're just the lineage of days. It's like your kids are fucking, Anyway, so the days are not the people today, because if they were, then why are AI? See, intelligence is being artificially made. I believe we were made from AI because we got to this point before. Everything on this fucking life happens just like they say, the pendulum, the sun, the cycle of 360. Anyway, so I believe it all has happened before. I believe that, and this is just one aspect of the belief. I've heard other parts that we're born from vibration. If the mind is energy, then that is the case. We were made from the energy of our minds. But you got to understand what the mind is. When I did this exercise of getting to 1 breath per minute, I knew things were good, because I told myself one day I needed $100. It's like, you know what? I'm not even complain, because the universe have always taken care of me. It was a Wednesday. On a Saturday, I opened up my mailbox, and those who can remember, Sprint or MCI had sent me a check for $100 asking me to change my long distance. Remember those days? And when that happened, there was a settling part within me to know that I was becoming one with this force that I understood to be God or the universe. And yes, the motherfucker had a phone number to God. I mean, that divine nature shit was real, and I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. I didn't believe it. I was 21, and I applied this book to my life like a chef would do a recipe. The results were phenomenal. I came home from my 10-year class reunion. Labina Lee, you remember when I walked into that diner that you were with some guy? I didn't know the guy. I don't really know you, Labina, other than going to high school with you and knowing your name and knowing you're a nice, good person. So for me to find her in the city of Milwaukee, I was looking for her simply because on the back of my business card that I gave her was a phone number of someone who was having a party. And I had to use Labina Lee's name on this video, and I'm sorry, Labina, because you are the only person, not the only, but you are a person that can qualify this information, verify it, and so that it's not hearsay. But I literally found Labina because I was looking for this card. I was really trying to get to see these people. Again, I knew how life was at that time with 26, 27, 28. When in your 10-year class reunion. So you know that at some point, as you see your parents and their lives, you hear about friends dying. So you just don't want to lose touch with people. So I wanted to connect, as I did in high school, with everybody. I didn't know where the hell I was going to find Labina, but I was so adamant in my heart, I just knew that I was powerful enough to do it. We drove around, went to every mall, and I waited till about 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, and it was every mall I did. And in the city at that time. And on the way back from the last mall, something in my body said, the little voice in my body said, look right. And I looked right, and Labina's car was there. Now, Labina drove a car that everybody knew was a red Monte Carlo. I was shocked. I was beyond shocked. I said, I found this girl in the whole city. And Milwaukee is not small. It's not a town. It's a city. It's a real city. It's close to 1 million people, if not. So it doesn't. Milwaukee City, County, Milwaukee should have about 1 million, I think. I believe. I used to see 600,000 and 900,000 coming up. I believe we done cracked 1 million. But all that to say is I found her with my mind. I didn't do any breathing. I didn't do any, but it's just, once again, once you connect these two worlds, there's something about this thing, man, that's just beyond. Why did you come back if you were there? I was a kid. Didn't know what the fuck I had. I believed in love, so I was looking for a wife. The same wife that I formed in my mind, I see today. Literally, her visual face. I like Asian women, but I want a black woman. My wife looks Asian, but she's black. She's got Asian background. It's weird how everything in that book from 392 came true. Every last thing. So Ra, appreciate you. I appreciate you. I truly appreciate Ra Unnefra Amen beyond measure. The one person, and once again, this is not coincidence, as he indicated in the book. All things coincide for a reason. My mind was looking for this. Therefore, it allowed my stimulation, or as I always say, my attractions to guide me to it. So if you follow your body's attractions, your body and mind are connected. So the mind will send a signal to your body to be attracted to this one thing. And you may go over there with your dick in your hand, but your reality is there's a whole lot more there for you. And if you just put your dick away and open your mind up, you'll see exactly why you're there. And I use that from a male's perspective of putting your dick in your hand, because so many people do it in any other way. You only go to places to get what you actually need from that particular place. Once again, you're just going out with your dick in your hand. And how is that your dick in your hand? That's a comedic understanding for you simple fucking minds. You know what? Since we got some comedy, man, let me go ahead and break some shit up. We'll do some comedy right quick. I told you I lived in LA. When I lived in LA, I was at lunch or brunch with a female. I thought she was pretty attractive. We were sitting on one of them outside patios with the gate. And I noticed these cats across the street. They were kind of looking at us, but I used to get that often. A lot of people thought I looked like other folks, so it wasn't weird for me to get that. And so the cat rolled up on me, and I told you guys I used to talk about people. So I could see by the little shit-eating grin he had on his face that he was going to try to be funny, I guess, or there was something that he saw that was humor, or he was trying to hold laughter in to some degree. So it's just a matter of time before he spills out what the laughter is. He enters with this. Hey, man, are you one of them Wayans brothers? Now, you can see his boy in the back smiling. And I said to him, yeah, man, I'm the broke Wayans brother. I'm the broke one. I'm the broke Wayans brother. And the dude sat there and he laughed. And I kind of knew you wasn't, and I kind of knew. That's when this boy in the back kind of busted out laughing. I said, man, you know what? Didn't I meet you at Venice Beach, man? I did meet you at Venice. He's like, I said, your name is motherfucking Maurice. He's like, no, my name is Tim. I said, no, you told me your name was Maurice and your middle name was Ronald and your family and friends call you Moron. Fuck out of here, you bum ass nigga. And the girl just fell out laughing, and it was all funny. But that's a joke that I need to work on. I'm working on that one. I thought it was kind of funny. I'll seal it up. I'll deliver it with better timing. But the joke is fucking hilarious, motherfucker. That's when I kind of wrote, I started that joke when I wrote it on Facebook, and nobody actually replied to that shit. Nobody responded. I think one or two people did a ha ha ha. And I was like, these motherfuckers don't know how funny this motherfucker is. I'm gonna have to decorate this shit. So there was another joke I wanted to break off. I can't remember, it'll come to me, but that one, for real. But the reality of it is, man, is I'm not really a serious person. I'm just a human being who just really saw some shit. And when I see it, I just like, yo, how do you get there? You basically demagnetize without buying Ra's book. I would just say, buy the fucking book. The only thing I don't like about the book is it takes you back through the same perceptions that we all understand. And growth and development and even evolution to me is just a different perception. Moving forward, you're not always basing it off of the same bricks. Some cases, because you have the intelligence, you can take your brick laying abilities and move them else into other places. But like you say, that's the builder part of the body. The builder is the mind, the form. The mind is the only thing that form. When you conform to the world, you're basically playing make-believe. As I indicated in my second video, when you play make-believe, you're now become a basically jurisdiction. See, the game is they have cloaked all this shit business. What is business? Business is a fictional entity. Now, they've cloaked these lands with fictional entities, businesses, the government, the state of Wisconsin, city, all of these things have EIN numbers. So they're nothing but businesses. But again, the perception is that these businesses are helping you. What business is here to help you other than the business of your life, the business of your body? That's the only business that's here to help you. Everything else is an illusion. If you believe that, especially after what we've seen just in the last 4 years, what happened 4 years ago, we saw an institution lie to us, right? At least that's what our perception was. We saw an institution lie to us from a perception point of view. Then we saw the same institutions work together to use human void, death, as collateral. So they started using human life as collateral because life and death are the same, right? You guys want to see something here? If life equals all your choices, and all your choices add up to your death, according to this equation, doesn't life equal death? If you look at that equation closely, right? Doesn't life equal death? If you look at that, right? So when you look at the math of life, life and death are one and the same. Does death really exist the way we see it? No, it doesn't. So with that said, guys, I'm going to have a part 2 to this video because I know there's going to be a lot of questions, but I had to get most of it off my chest, and I just spilled my berry drink, and I don't want it to get on my white carpet. So we're going to postpone this to a part 2. This is a great start for part 1. I can articulate a lot of stuff in part 2. Comment, shoot back, rib, talk about me. Whatever you got to do to express yourself, I am ready for whatever. I'm open. Another thing, please remember this. This is something I got. In order for the cells and the life to get to my toes, to help my toes, your veins need to be open. So keep your mind, keep your heart, and keep your hands open, because evidently that's what stimulates life in your body. Peace. Get ready for part 2.